So retired Navy SEAL Mike Sarraille is here. And sir, thanks for coming on. Good morning to you. I take away two things from this briefing.
Good morning, Bill.
Number one, the blockade's working in terms of squeezing Iran economically. And the other thing, based on the comments from Hegseth and Kane, this is not a team that is anxious to go back to combat. What did you hear?
No, I think you summarized that extremely well. The economic chokehold, as I'm calling it, is devastating. It's crippling to the Iranian regime. But, you watched or listened to some key words right there: restraint, or what we call strategic patience. And what message are they sending to Iran, who's trying to attack what assets we have in the region, is that you're not a concern. That is also a message to the world, that's to the ship captains, the shipping companies, and the insurers, that the Strait of Hormuz is safe. Now, that said, do I foresee strikes happening in the coming days or weeks? Yes, that is if the next proposal from Iran to the president still does not meet the red lines he's established, at which point I think we will inflict more damage, more pain to a fractured regime in order to bring them to the reality of the world that they see very differently at this time.
Mike, I think it's key to note that restraint does not mean rest. And General Kane explained about the different assets that are there just to protect what we have going on right now.
Well, you're right.
More than 100 fighters, attack aircraft, and other manned and unmanned aircraft, synchronized by the 82nd Airborne Division, are in the air 24 hours a day, providing defensive overwatch for the enhanced security area and its approaches that I discussed. These forces are comprised of over 15,000 American service members and have established localized air and sea control to protect against Iranian threats.
Mike, how do you see that?
Yeah, it's the vigilance of the U.S. military. They know they're in a threat region. They know there's a threat to U.S. forces and assets. So that's the professionalism of the U.S. military. I know that is the higher professionalism of this generation. So they know why they're there. They're vigilant. They know that threats are out there. And they are prepared, if they receive the call from the president, to continue strikes similar to the first phase of this operation.
Seems like we're still trying to get other countries to go ahead and trust us. And it seems that trust is not just there yet. As I say that, the Iranian foreign minister is arriving in Beijing, China, I think at this hour. And tomorrow he's going to meet with heads of government there in Beijing. And Scott Bessent was on with us yesterday, the Treasury Secretary, talking about trying to get China to step up, which you can understand why he's trying to make that plea. But China's going to say, hey, you started it. This is your war. And the U.S. is going to say, yeah, but it's your oil and you need it for your economy. Do you see President Xi and the leaders of the CCP coming in here and putting the appropriate pressure on Iran to get some of them to change their ways?
It's the lesser of two options. And first off, I hope to get a picture of the Iranian foreign minister on his knees pleading for help. But so China knows this is a lost cause, and again, they're not going to put further support behind an ideology that is looked down upon by the world. So they know if they can get Iran to agree to the terms, it opens up the straits, which they receive 70 to 80% of their oil. They need it for manufacturing. They need it for production. They need it for their economy. And that is the lesser of two evils in this circumstance.
And Mike, as all of these the captains of the ships apparently have been consulted as well. They want to get moving. What would give them the confidence to take that step?
That's the overwhelming presence of the U.S. Navy. And I'm not so sure it's the ship captains as much as it is the insurers and the ship companies that have to pay the ultimate tab. They're probably pretty ready to get through. They've been sitting in the Gulf for some time, but the strength and the assurance that the U.S. military has this blue, red, and white dome overhead, a layered missile defense to knock out any potential threats for ships moving through. I think that's ultimately what they're looking for. And the USS Mason and Truxton demonstrated that yesterday when they received a sustained barrage of missiles, drones, and fast attack boats.
Well, it's called Project Freedom, and Scott Bessent mentioned that yesterday. Just roll this clip real quick with Dana and me.
Project Freedom is something that's been in the works, and we would encourage the Iranians to let these more than 300 vessels leave. that they can fire on them. They're I think it's called the Mosquito Navy. Is being swatted. Numerous ships, maybe in double digits, have been destroyed. And the U.S., we are just firing if fired upon. We are not the provocateurs here, but if the Iranians want to escalate here, we are willing to escalate.
He went on to call them a band of pirates. We'll leave it there. Mike Sarraille, thanks for coming on. We'll see where it goes today. Thank you, sir.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.